What's up, guys? Oh man, that's a rough angle. Alright, I'm just gonna finish. Ugh. No. Oh, I'm gonna finish this stretch. I'm gonna get up. Alright, so this is a really weird rest area. Guys, the old reliable juke is sitting over there. We're gonna, right there. We're gonna let it sit for just a second. This is kind of cool. Tennessee is promoting a tobacco-free lifestyle with like a funky walking trail. So we're somewhere on I-75 right now. In fact, we're not somewhere. We know exactly where we are. We just crossed from Kentucky into Tennessee and launched our video. This is really weird. I've never seen a rest area with like a wooded area like this, but it seems like the most polite place to go to vlog. So I thought about making this a Cartalk segment, but now it's a Woods Talk segment. Get it, Woodstock? I think that's pretty good. What is up here? This is so weird. It's a wild elevation to be doing in flip-flops, so as long as we're talking about clothes, I guess shout out SOE Tactical, the ultra sweet Harry Potter shirt, and then shout out Katanica, easily the best travel shorts I've ever had, dedicated pocket for everything, just incredible utility shorts. I've dated a few women over the years who are like, you're too old for cargo shorts, and I'm like, wow, I feel really bad for you that you think there's such a thing as too old for cargo shorts. You know who wears cargo shorts? People who do things and need things to do those things. That's what cargo shorts are for. So this is our third day out of the last 7 days that we've spent more than 10 hours driving a car. So right now we're coming back from Sarnia, where we were hanging out with Aaron. We filmed zombies. We actually still have a little bit of zombie blood here. In fact, we got a split in our ear from him whacking me with the camera. Where does this go? Like, in theory, is this part of the AT? No way. I think it just keeps going, boys. It's not like there's a picnic area or anything up here. It just keeps going. So this is as good a place as any to stop for Cartalk. I mean, is there like a stump I could put you guys on? I don't want to do that. So we are just turbo mega levels of exhausted. I don't know if you've ever done any long haul driving like that, but doing it by yourself is the worst. If you're one of the very close friends that I've been calling on these various trips, driving up to APOC, driving from APOC to Canada, driving from Canada home, then you have my eternal gratitude, because right now we're kind of in a blitz. We have a flight at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and in order to make that, we have to get home tonight. So we have to get home tonight. We have to get what little sleep we can so that we can hang out with... We're not gonna get any sleep. I really want to see my puppy, guys. Jinx is at home. Jinx is the tiny itty bitty schnauzer that we just adopted in Castle Dracula, and I miss her very much. But this is the part of like entrepreneuring and running around the world that like we so often miss. This is the part that KZ Neistat like fast forwards through. This is the grueling, like, haven't shaved in 3 days. I think this is 3. This is 3, not 2 days of haven't shaved. It's just like gnarly road warrioring that's super duper unfortunate. Somebody else is coming up the trail, so we're gonna walk a little way further. But I don't know. The really interesting thing, the reason that I'm making this event is like, and it'll lead into my question, is what do you guys think is an appropriate amount of time in advance to yank the rug out from under somebody? Remember that client that like dropped a mysterious like obligation on me, and I was like, sure, I will meet this obligation. I will do this thing for you. And I was happy to do that. Well, now they're like, oh, with 4 days notice, 5 days, 4 or 5 days. I don't want to rob them of a day here. Ethically, that would be wrong. They're like, by the way, it's not happening. Cancel your plans. Alter the scheme. No worries. And I'm just like, you guys are ridiculous. Like, what a joke. And so we're dealing with that. We're also like pivoting. We're very excited to see Addie and Michelle. There's a ton of really cool stuff going on in the hobby space, not necessarily the industry space. The only cool thing that we did at APOC is we smoked our worst brisket ever, just because of having to move it 3 times, which if you're asking, how do you move a brisket, Drac? The answer is you don't. You lose all of your internal temperature while you're driving to the next township, because New Jersey is easily the worst state in the United States. I hate giving it that title, but like the only reason to go to New Jersey ever is APOC. And APOC will hopefully be moving to a better field. I've never had cops shut down a Nerf war before, so it was pretty rough. Oh, let's eternalize these words. Well, I hope you guys can't read that. I was gonna read it. I was hoping it would be something meaningful, some memento of our time here, but it's not. Kentucky, by the way, is actually a pretty great state. It's gorgeous. Cell phone reception is terrible, but the drive is actually very beautiful if you're doing it during the day, and a little bit fun and spooky if you're doing it at night. So I have 2 questions for you. Question number 1 is, because I've got more travel this month. So question number 1 is, I just finished, I didn't like finish it, because it's ongoing or whatever, but I finished the Adventure Zone for the 2nd time. Really like the Adventure Zone by the McElroy brothers, and really. And I listened to a podcast called Atlanta Monster, which is very interesting. It's a time period that like my family wasn't in the United States yet, but it's about, apparently there were a bunch of child murders in Atlanta, and supposedly, and this is why the podcast is interesting, supposedly the city of Atlanta framed like a guy who didn't do all of the murders, or possibly even any of the murders, and he's been in jail for 30 years, wrongfully accused of this incredibly heinous serial murdering, which also, new conspiracy, might not have even been serial murdering. So I recommend both of those to you if you've never heard of the Atlanta child murders, which I had never heard of, despite being, I think, a pretty avid Atlantean. That's a pretty decent podcast. That's a short listen. It's only about 10 episodes. And then if you've never heard of the Adventure Zone, what kind of nerd are you? You got to listen to the Adventure Zone. It's about 80 episodes, I think. And that one is a significantly larger time commitment, but you won't be able to put it down, I swear. So I think that both of those are pretty good. And my question is, what's your favorite podcast? Leave it in the description box below. I'm always looking for new podcasts to listen to, because that's who I am now. I know all the music that I like, and so I listen to the music that I like, and I haven't heard an album recently that I've been like, oh man, this is worth adding to the music that I like. Anything that's like, I don't know, just top 40 doesn't do it for me, which is how you know that you're finally getting old, I guess. So I'm a podcast guy now, and I would love your favorite podcast. And then like, am I out of line here? Is it ridiculous for a multi-billion-dollar company to yank the rug out of you with 5 days notice? Like, I'm a little heated over it, and I feel like I have a right to be, but maybe that's logistics. I don't know. It's tough, but that's bugging me. But at the same time, it's like, you have to find your silver linings. You have to find your blessings in disguise. That means that I get to spend uninterrupted time with my baby sister and my new sister now that they're married. And so we get to go to a war with Addie and Michelle. We get to fly the colors. We get to have an absolute blast at a comparably lower FPS for PvP. And that means that Addie and I will be doing lots of zipping, zooming, and dodging. We're going to create our own Wonder Twins team. It's going to be fantastic. So that's today's Car Talk. The comment that you owe me is, I want to know what your favorite podcast is. And if you've never listened to a podcast, it's far more enriching, I find, to listen to and support individual creators, smaller content creators like podcasts. NPR has some good podcasts, but I like listening to independent podcasts. It's a real shame that like Nerf doesn't have any good podcasts, and I've been singing that tune for a long time. There was one that was okay, but it stopped. I think the dude who did it, his name was, shoot, I can't remember. I think it started with an R. There was an okay podcast series that was pretty good. And recently I've rediscovered that the most, I've started listening to Detroit Dark Talk, and I think that that's pretty good, but it's so specific is the problem. Like Nerf podcasts are so niche that while they might appeal to like me or you, they're in general terrible entertainment. So I enjoyed Detroit Dark Talk. That's no dagger on them. I think that Detroit Dark Talk did a really good job of covering events recently. I enjoyed their formatting. I listened to all of them on this trip because I've spent 36 hours in my car. When I was a century younger, I could drive forever and it wasn't that big a deal. Now that I'm in my second century on life, it's starting to get a little exhausting, but I also just really miss Pat. Anyway, that's my their musical notes all along this trail. It makes me wonder if I'm assuming if I was Chicken, if I was as smart as Jackson, I could play the musical notes and know what the song is. But comment down below, favorite podcast. What's a reasonable amount of time to cancel a massive engagement as a massive company? But that's today's vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I really I love these smaller videos. They're so much easier, both to digest and to create. As a content creator, it's very liberating to exist outside of the normal editing cage and trap. You guys can see just what a nightmare this travel was, because we still have all of Crow's stuff. Crow flew home, so we have to unload all of Crow's stuff and get Pat some footage and do all of that and all before flying out tomorrow at 10 a.m. So that's it, guys. Much love, Fondrak out.